Okay guys, so today we're going to look at how to conduct installation and removal of your gauge manifold set. This is the piece of equipment we're obviously using to check the condition of the refrigerant in our system. So we're going to go through the procedure of how to do this. First thing you're going to do is you're going to inspect the rubber grommets on your gauges. So you take a look at the condition. You can see there's a rubber grommet in there. Okay, that one looks okay. So now we're going to go through and we are going to check each one. All right, let's take a look at connecting our suction line. First thing you're going to do is remove your suction service stem cap. Always use a service wrench. Make sure that's back seated, so if we open that upper port, it's not going to spit refrigerant on us. Next, you remove your suction service access port cap. Once you've completed that, you can connect your suction hose to your suction access port. Connecting the high side line. First thing you do is remove your discharge service port stem cap. Do not use an adjustable wrench. Confirm that your discharge service stem cap is back seated, so it's not going to spit refrigerant when you open up that access port cap. Once you've done that, you can safely remove your discharge service port access cap. Now, you're going to connect your high side hose to your high side service port. Here's how to purge the air out of your hoses and your manifold. The first thing you're going to do is crack the discharge service stem off of its back seat. Once you've completed that, grab your manifold and crack both hand valves off their front seat. You're going to hear refrigerant flow through the manifold, but be careful not to let that low side compound gauge go up into the retard zone. Next, you're going to purge your service hose and your low side hose at your suction service port. Front seat those manifold hand valves, and you've completed your air bleed off. Finally, you crack your suction service stem off its back seat, and you can properly assess your system operating conditions at this point. When you're removing your gauges, the thing you want to be careful of is not to release any more refrigerant into the atmosphere than you have to. So the key is to make sure that we're taking all of the refrigerant and putting it into the low side of the system. So the first thing we're going to do is back seat that discharge service valve. Once you've done that, crack your hand valves off their front seat. Let that refrigerant flow through. As you can see, the pressures are eventually going to equalize here. Once pressures have equalized, you can front seat your hand valves again. You've drained as much refrigerant as you can back into the low side of the system. Once you've drained as much refrigerant as possible into the low side of the system, you can take your suction line off. To do that, the first thing you're going to do is back seat your suction service valve. Now you can remove your suction hose and connect it to your blank off port. Now you can put on your suction service access port cap and your suction service stem cap. Tighten that up with a wrench. Just make it snug. Don't over tighten it. Removing your high side line repeats the steps of removing your low side line. You start that by removing your high side hose. Once you've done that, you can get your caps going. I replaced my discharge access cap first, and here I am twisting on my discharge service stem cap. Snug it up with the wrench. Never an adjustable wrench, just do it gently. And you've now successfully completed installation and removal of your gauge manifold set.